Loop rub, always one of Ginobili's main plays. Now, obviously, running it a ton for DeRozan, putting him in pick and rolls with Aldridge. You see they go under here, so Aldridge rescreens. Great job probing by DeRozan to get all the way to the basket. Tap head. I'm not sure if the Spurs called this out here, but that's their call for typical pistol action in the NBA. Seems like they're just doing it a decent amount with DeRozan, trying to get mismatches, see if the Lakers might switch that. They can possibly roll DeRozan down to the post against mismatches here. Forbes does a nice job just attacking. Baseline. Spurs always have great floor spacing, great extra passes. Drive and kick for open threes. Loop rub again here. Big DeRozan play. That's his shot. Money spots we talk about for guys like Kobe, killers like DeRozan. Once he gets that pull up right there, if you're this far off him, that's almost automatic. He's one of the best mid-range players in the NBA, if not all time. Pick is the Spurs call pretty much just for a drag, so you'll see just a lot of calls that are just pick, that are pretty random basketball, random drag, pick and roll in transition. Here we see the Lakers icing it. Forbes does a nice job throwing back to Aldridge. He's also a phenomenal mid-range player. Doesn't need a ton of space, but there's too much space, obviously, for him to get that shot off. One of the best shooters in the league from that spot. We see pick again, this time Gay and Aldridge. Lakers playing this pick and roll kind of in a 2-for-2 drop concept, which I've talked about on Twitter before. You see JaVale is back. What makes that really hard, though, is that with him being back on this screen, Gay does a nice job once he has LeBron on his back. Throwing this pass back to Aldridge, that's a really long closeout for JaVale to have to make if he's going to play this far back on the pick and roll. If he wants to get up a little bit, he might have an easier time getting back to Aldridge, but it seems like the Lakers are almost willing to live with this shot, which is tough. It's a long two. It's what the analytics say, but it is one of the best mid-range shooters, like I said, in the league in Aldridge. Still trying to go under everything with DeRozan. Little offensive foul there. Not sure exactly what they were trying to run here. Sometimes you see plays that they don't exactly execute perfectly. I'm not sure what the call was here, but looks like it got a little broken. See a little confusion. Somebody's not in the right spot. KYP, though, we talked about knowing your personnel. Shot fake after the dribble. That's what DeRozan loves to do. He gets so many guys on this little shot fake right here. Good job by Caldwell Pope to stay down. Big time shooter and Forbes. Loop rub again, this time for Gay. They switch it with Cunningham setting. Aldridge comes back to set it again. Tough shot. After timeout play, looks like they were looking for that fake handoff. Get DeRozan again, one of his money spot turnaround jumpers. Wedge, okay, so the big time Spurs play. Parker's run it for a long, long time. This year it looks like they're running it more into a post up with the personnel they have. You see that hand signal DeRozan's giving right about here. That's the visual sign for wedge. You'll see it again later in the game. It looks like they want to do it again for a post up here with Beasley on him. Just kind of a ball supposed to be about free throw line extended with a tight little back pick. Gay setting for Aldridge, and he, like I said, he could go into a pick and roll, but here they're running it for a post up with Beasley on him. 1-3 roll is a hawk cut into a side pick and roll. This is called a hawk cut right here, kind of like similar to UCLA, but with the point guard already dribbling the ball, free throw line extended. So after this hawk cut, then DeRozan goes right into the side pick and roll. They switch it, running it to get DeRozan in the post. Just want to point out what a phenomenal passer DeMar's become. I think he had a lot of assists in this game. He's been playing a long time, so he's making these reads so well. You see, first of all, he faces up, right to left rip through to attack Lonzo. Could have a finish here at the basket, which Beasley comes over to take away. So DeRozan gets up in the air. A lot of people criticize this, but It's not a criticism for guys that really know what they're doing and know the timing and when to do it. So it's a great play for a guy like DeRozan. He's up in the air. He's reading the help. He's reading LeBron coming down to take away Cunningham. Gasol's in the corner where he's supposed to be. Phenomenal pass for a wide open corner three. DeRozan ISO, you call ISO, post up, mid post, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, big time ISO player. So let's just talk about here. Good spacing again by San Antonio. The rule is if you're spaced out, if you see the back of your man's head, that's usually a great time to cut. You see Lonzo look away for a second. Mills knows he's got him beat right now. Hard basket cut. That's what the Spurs do a great job of always doing, always moving without the ball. LeBron should see this and take it away, but he doesn't, so Mills has a layup. See the Spurs just playing basketball here. They find Gasol on the post against the mismatch. It's a split game. Warriors obviously made this hugely popular with Draymond in the post, Bogut in the post, guys that are good post passers. So here, even with Gasol having the mismatch, he's looking to pass out of it. Lakers play it okay. They throw it back to him, repost. Again, we see he has a big mismatch. So you see Beasley coming over to dig. Mills does a good job staying in Gasol's vision. So when Beasley goes to dig at the post, he's got that easy pass right back to Mills. Too much help off a great shooter. Side out of bounds play. I believe they call this 2. Basically, they're just looking for this wide pin down for the far corner guy. So here, I believe it's DeRozan coming up. And then what they call this the gaggle over here. Little gaggle action. Guys kind of moving, setting slice screens, back picks. And here, they're really looking for this two-man game. Okay, so they're going to try to get this quick pitch. They can go handoff, they can go fake handoff, side pick and roll, whatever it is. They're playing two-man game. Here we'll see it again, side out of bounds 2 again. So Mills is basically just faking coming off of this zipper, and instead of going back to the strong side corner. So really they're looking for this wide pin away for the far corner guy in DeRozan. You see the gaggle again on the weak side. These guys pretty much just fake split, keeping the defense occupied. And DeRozan up top is playing two-man game with Gasol. Hit, come right off, handoff, turn around, re-pick, side pick and roll. Gasol has the roll there probably. Spurs keep it moving though. 1-5 roll. We talked about 1-3 roll being the hawk cut with the small DeRozan coming to set the side pick and roll. So I believe they call this 1-5 if it's Gasol or 5-man instead coming to set the side pick and roll. So you see this hawk cut to start it. It's a double stagger on the weak side for him to come off these double screens. And Mills comes off the side pick and roll. Gets right about foul line, pull up. Great shot for him. Loop down. So this Spurs call, just want to highlight right here. You see Pop making the loop visual into kind of a down or a punch. It means he wants the post up out of it. So loop for the Spurs again is always their key. Starts with a zipper cut. Loop down. They want the punch. Post up for Gasol. Random basketball right here. This is what the Spurs do so well. Coaches, overseas, I know have taken so much from them, given so much to them, but they just play hard every single second. So even if it's random basketball in transition, Spurs are always doing these kind of splits. Split game right here. Mills gets out. Bellinelli gets it back. Hits Gasol. Two-man game again. So you see he's overplayed. Hard basket cut. Ball movement. Attacking closeouts, extra pass. Let's just watch this again, full speed. They're just playing basketball. Everything is full speed. That's what Pop demands. He plays guys 25, 30 minutes, but all those 25, 30 minutes are going to be hard as hell. All out intensity. Another after timeout play here. The pin down into the high pick, and you see kind of that backside hammer, that flare screen for Bertans, maybe trying to get him the corner three. Wedge. You see that visual again right there from Forbes. That's the wedge visual. Gasol this time, like we talked about, can run it into the side pick and roll. So Bellinelli, after he sets this wedge screen, is going to go space to the corner. And Gasol is going to set this side. Forbes got a pretty open pull-up. Loop. So traditional loop. Tony Parker's favorite play. One of his favorite sets to run. Again, we see the zipper to start it. They'll hit Bellinelli up top, and then it's basically a floppy action for the point guard. So especially for a guy like Forbes, Mills, guys that are great coming off screens to shoot. We see it turn into a floppy action for him and also for Mills, obviously. So if Forbes isn't open coming off the triple, Mills is coming off the screens too. A lot of movement by the Spurs. This one I'm not sure if it was meant to be loop rub. Looks like for Bellinelli, they're sending the loop rub for him. But you also see Mills coming off baseline. I'm not sure if maybe there's a new wrinkle they've added. I'm not sure if maybe some guys thought they were running regular loop. A little bit different. Don't execute it that well. After timeout play here, you can't really see the whole thing, but just wanted to point out this great job. We call this kind of a Nash dribble by Patty Mills here. So you see JaVale again is in a drop. Mills does a great job kind of just stringing him along, extending this dribble underneath. Tough finish for a little guy against a 7-footer, but Mills, by stringing it out, eventually what he causes mostly is this late switch, right? So McGee eventually has to make a decision, okay, I have to take Mills at this point. So Hart's got to peel back to Gasol. They do a good job recognizing the switch. Gasol hits Mills back quickly. Tough cover for JaVale to get all the way out there. Loop rub. You see rub visuals kind of just rubbing against the chest, rubbing the jersey right there. You see Forbes do it right here. Let's get DeRozan in the high pick with Aldridge. Seems like they knew LA is trying to go under it a lot, so they're trying to set this screen a little bit lower. So again, this is what San Antonio is recognizing. JaVale's playing in this drop. But LA's not trying to switch it. Seems like they're willing to live with this long too for Aldridge. After timeout play, I've heard this called, I think, zip special before. This was a Tom Thibodeau play in Chicago. He used to run a lot with Noah as a passer. Coming off this pin down right here. The Forbes is going to set for Aldridge. Aldridge more of a scorer, obviously. They switch the small line to him. That patented right shoulder fade away. Impossible guard for Lonzo right there. Swing 3, another play they ran for Kawhi a ton. They're going to run now, I'm sure, for DeRozan a lot. Nice recognition by Kuzma getting up and denying. So Gay fills up and runs the play from that spot instead. Low flex cut for DeRozan to come off this low screen. Trying to get him a post up. Loop. You see that kind of looping visual again with his finger in a loop right here by Forbes. This will be loop for the point guard. Triple screens coming up for Forbes. Sprint off him. Got to be a better pass. Milwaukee is a play they've run for a long time for Duncan, for all their post-up players. Aldridge here. We see it's basically a decoy pick and roll by him. And really what they're trying to do is get him off this double staggered back pick. So Gay's going to come set this high as well so Forbes can make this pass into the post. You see Bellinelli and DeRozan setting double back screens on McGee. McGee does a good job recognizing the play, getting underneath him. But post-up play for Aldridge. Another after timeout. You see it start with a loop. Now we got pin down. Rejects it into a post-up for DeRozan. A little drop action. Again, we talked about something he just loves to do. He makes these quick attacks. He's getting up in the air. One of the best in the league, staying in the air, reading the floor. Lonzo does a good job staying with Mills in the corner. Got to take that away. Bellinelli spacing. Nice extra pass. We're just going to call rub any just simple high pick and roll. So Pop will sometimes say who he wants in it or call out the numbers, but let's just call it rub for simplicity's sake for now. So DeRozan and Aldridge again in the high. Phenomenal Euro step. Seeing the big back. Almost an automatic for him to go to that Euro. Caldwell Pope, don't know what he's doing here. Can't ball watch, can't get sucked in for no reason. Bellinelli does a good job not being on the same plane, lifting up a little bit. Elite shooter. Pick. We talked about pick just being their drag. Pick is their call for a double drag. Here, they didn't exactly call it, but we'll just call it that for simplicity's sake. Really more of a get action, kind of a two-man game off a handoff. Talked about how elite Bellinelli is as a shooter. One of the things that's always amazed me about him, too, is balance, right? So he pulls up off the dribble, he pulls up off the move. His feet are always flailing. He's hanging in the air, falling forward, but he hits these shots. I mean, his balance and ability to make tough shots is just remarkable. Tap head, we said, is their call for pistol. Again, don't know if it's called here. Looks like they're trying to get DeRozan some switches so he can back down to the post. He's got Lonzo here. Great job reading the help, creating a wide open shot again for Aldridge in the mid-range. Lakers sending a lot of help at the post. After timeouts, we see a little loop action for DeRozan. Not the Spurs loop action exactly, but Toronto would run this a lot. Casey used to run this for Lou Williams, for DeRozan a lot. See him looping over the top. Nice floater. Tap head again. Lakers get a little mixed up now. Are we switching? Are we showing? What are we doing? Lonzo seems to think Hart can still stay with DeRozan and fight through the screen, which he probably can, but you see the confusion right there. And this confusion is what creates open shots, right? Lack of communication. You see Bellinelli initially had Lonzo on him. These guys get messed up on the coverage. DeRozan strings it out, attacks. Bellinelli, good job drifting. Gets a wide open three out of it. I believe they call this rub same side, but what they're really just looking, you see kind of Cunningham in a short. So a short in a high pick and roll, something that's not as common, used to be really common when teams would always have to play two bigs. Cunningham, more of a spacing big, so he's usually just going to space anyway, but just to point out here, a short action would be if this screen is coming right to left for Mills, Cunningham would start on this right block and move underneath at the same time this screen's set, which makes it really hard for teams to cover it up with their big men. So it's a big action that the Suns used to love for Steve Nash. With this big in the short spot, what it's really going to open up is potentially that pocket pass on the roll, right? So if this big is down low, coming short from block to block, if they're going to play it 2 for 2, if Mills is able to come off, Aldridge is going to have this free roll right about here, short roll in this area. In today's era, again, we don't see a ton of this short action, so I believe what the Spurs were calling here is rub same side, so they're trying to get back Aldridge to pop, and then go into this second side pick and roll, bringing it back to DeRozan, rescreen on the under, too much space for his pull-up. Rub post, so despite the name, not a post-up play. You see Pop putting his two fists together right there. That's the Spurs call for horns action, rub post. It's been his call for a long time. You see this tight horns action. Love to go high-low out of it. You got loop rub again. Great thing about DeRozan, he can run it from either side. Great playing out of it, going either way on the pick and roll. See again, Lakers are playing this drop concept, this 2 for 2. JaVale stopping the ball. At this point, though, what I would tell him is Okay, JaVale's got the ball stop. Caldwell Pope. When you see DeRozan's numbers, you got to peel back to Aldridge. So that's the only way, really, if you're going to play it like this, that you're going to take away his long twos. If you want to just say you'll give Aldridge 20 long twos in this game, I mean, you can try that, and sometimes the analytics of that'll work. But again, just an elite mid-range shooter. Long closeout for McGee to get all the way there. So they called wedge here. I don't see if I can turn the sound up just for a second. One of the smartest players in the league, LeBron, calling out their play call even. He sees the call. He's calling out wedge, obviously, that they walked through that play. So JaVale knows he's fighting through this little cross screen right here. Aldridge is going to go down to the post. Floor is well spaced already. Side out of bounds play. 2 we saw already. Wide pin for DeRozan. Talk about what a smart player LeBron is again. Guy's been playing such a long time, just knows every team's plays probably better than even they do. You see him here. He knows this play is designed for DeRozan coming up on the weak side, so he, this time, is forcing the ball towards the basket. So kind of the opposite coverage of what you'd probably want, usually on the guy guarding the inbounder, but LeBron's so smart, he can try to take this pass away. Aldridge does a good job flashing, and they play out of it.